Hello everyone, it is Dylan from Yugioh Everything back with my final episode of my mini-series Road to Yu-Gi-Oh! 6. It is a series where I discussed different ideas and different options the 6th anime show might go for Yu-Gi-Oh! Assuming we get a 6th anime show, because again, we really are not 100% sure. We know at Jump Festa December 16th to December 17th, Konami is making a major announcement. This is the event where 6 years ago and 3 years ago, they announced Zexal and Arc 5 respectively. And interestingly enough, a bunch of people have been telling me that Yuya's design, and I vaguely do remember this, that Yuya's design was shown before Jump Festa, so we might, and again we might, get the main protagonist design in the next 3 to 4 days or the next week before Jump Festa, which is really awesome. Either way, we are only 11 days from that event. So the final part, the final conclusion of Road to Yu-Gi-Oh! 6, I've given my thoughts on a Yu-Gi-Oh! Generation series, I've given my thoughts on maybe the 3DS game, if they're going to turn that into an anime, and I've given my thoughts on prequels and sequels of the previous shows. If you want to check those parts out, they will all be linked down below. I'm finally going to give my own wish list. A lot of people have asked me, what would you want to see? So I'm going to give my own wish list in terms of plot, characters, even a couple archetypes, what kind of time setting I want this to be in, and then I want to hear from you guys down below. So this is kind of just, I guess, fan fiction you can call it, and just, this is the creative part where I really want to hear just some crazy ideas, and we'll see what ends up happening. So we're going to start main protagonist. And I do want the main protagonist, as a lot of you guys to know, to be a female lead. I think it's about time that we did get a female lead. I know they've had a real issue writing female characters in the past. In fact, all female characters, you can argue, have been written pretty poorly, and just there was a lot of room to write them better. You can even look at Aki, who I think was the queen of female characters in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh!, in my opinion at least, but even after those first 50 episodes, her character really, really diminished in value. You can say the same about Mai from Duel Monsters. I feel like those two are kind of the two templates that you can go on. And yes, you can look at Asuka from GX, but there were so many issues there. And these are characters, especially Asuka, that were written really well in the manga, so it's a shame that, maybe not Mai and Aki, but it's a shame that they were perceived this way in the anime, and then you have characters like Anzu and Kotori, and even Yuzu it's turned into, where those kind of girls are just there for moral support in a way. Yuzu got off to a great start and then really, really diminished, and now who even knows if she's going to duel again. I mean, she's dueled no times in the year 2016, which is crazy. She might not even duel again by the time the show ends, which is just absurd. But females deserve some love in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, and I would rather see a young Yuya Yuma aged female than I would an adult male, like a Yusei Judai aged male. Which brings me to my next point. I would rather see a more mature looking character, mainly because we've gotten younger characters the past two series, which again, nothing against younger characters, but I would enjoy for them to shake it up. So if we're going to get a male protagonist, I would rather see him around Yusei's age range, around Judai's age range. But if I had to pick, I would pick female over if they're going to make a female character that's Yuya's age or Yuma's age, I would prefer that over an adult male character. So that's my feelings on the lead character. Really, really want a female. In terms of time zone, I want there to be some continuity between this show and another Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. Now, whether the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Timeline is canon, which I do believe that it is still up for debate. And even though I believe that a lot of people would disagree with me and say Zexal's its own universe and Arc 5 is its own universe, a lot of people would feel that way, and I'm sure there are some people that would agree with me that it is canon. I'll give my reasons for it when I do that timeline video again, which I feel like I bring that timeline video up every time I make a video, but again, that's coming at the end of Arc 5. I would love to see, it doesn't matter whether this is in the GX era, or the Duel Monsters era, or the 5Ds era, Zexal era, Arc 5 era, I would like to see some reference. I loved in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX when you had the Paradox Brothers duel Judai and show. I loved when you had the scene with Kaiba and Sayu, even though it was very brief, but you had Kaiba's influence there. And I love the scene in Zexal when you had all the throwback monsters from Duel Monsters and GX. I love things like that. And is it really crazy to think that maybe they could do something where this main character, her trainer or her master or someone that decides to take her under her wing, is like a Judai, or is a Yusei, or is a Yuma, maybe an older version of Yuma? I think that would be so cool. And I think the issue that a lot of people have had with returning characters in Arc 5 is it's kind of, they've taken away, and they've been written for the most part pretty badly, but they've taken away from the already pretty interesting characters that Arc 5 offered us. In this situation, if you had a character that was training our main protagonist, our main hero, I don't think that would be an issue. I really don't think that would be an issue. Because besides them maybe having an occasional duel, they're not controlling the plot. They're not dueling in the plot, and maybe something tragic can happen to them. Like maybe Yugioh, who's like 40 years old now at the time, again, that depends how Arc 5 ends, is training our main hero, and he falls ill, or he gets carded or killed, or something happens like that, and that turns this whole show dark, and now the whole goal is to save Yugioh, along with everyone else who, the world is in danger from an antagonist. That's something that I'd love to see. I'd just love to see some continuity between this show and any other Yu-Gi-Oh show. It doesn't matter if it's Arc 5 or Zexal or GX. I would just love to see old characters brought back, but old characters from the previous shows, not old characters that seem to have their memory wiped like Arc 5 did, which I thought was cool at first, but I would just rather it be, again, it just kind of kills the whole continuity factor and the whole, are these the same characters that we fell in love with from 5Ds and from Zexal and from GX? Kind of, but kind of not. So that's the whole thing there. That's a big wish of mine. As for the villain, you probably noticed, and you're probably saying, what does Dylan know about Shaddolls that he had in the background of the thumbnail? Shaddolls are a card that I, for a long time, have really, really liked. And I know I've probably never brought that up before, because they're not my favorite archetype. Red Eyes Black Dragons, that's probably my favorite archetype. But I love Shaddolls, and I, for one, my friend, he used them competitively years ago, and that's how I know about the archetype. I don't know if they're still very good competitively. If you guys want to comment down below, I'm interested to know if they are still used competitively. But I think these cards are so creepy, and I would love an antagonist. And maybe if we get a male hero, which is fine, if we get a male hero, I wouldn't love it, but if we get one, no matter what protagonist we get, guys, or no matter what characters we get, I'm going to give the show a fair chance. I'm probably going to end up watching the show in full. But if we get a male hero, make the villain a female, even if it's for one arc. Make the female a villain, make her like a Dark Miru kind of type. Miru from Arc 5, if you guys haven't watched Arc 5, she's this kind of psychic girl that I think was underused a little bit. I mean, she did ritual monsters, but like, have her use Shaddolls. Make her like a creepy girl like Sabrina from the original Pokemon. That girl, when I was younger, scared the crap out of me. And I think that it would be a really cool antagonist to have like a mind-reading ability, kind of like Pegasus, and use creepy monsters, kind of like Bakura did, except make them Shaddolls, because we know that Shaddolls are well-known in the community, and I think that it would be really cool. Now, I don't know if Shaddolls have enough cards to make a deck, because I think I talked to Legendary Duels about it, and I said, yeah, I really like the Shadoll cards. I'd love for them to make an appearance in the next show, and I think he said there's really not enough of them to make a full deck. I think that's what he said, don't quote me on that, but I mean, they could always add cards, they could always add a structure deck or something, so I think that would be really cool. You guys let me know. You guys obviously know probably a lot more about that archetype than I do. I just love the design of it, and I put Aki in the thumbnail because I would love a psychic female character to be kind of like an antagonist, or a psychic male character for that matter. I just think the archetype goes well with, psychic and connecting with the spirits kind of thing, and I would love to see that in a villain in the next Yu-Gi-Oh show. One final point I'm going to make is the best friend role. The best friend role is a role that I thought Duel Monsters did so well in. I thought Janucci, a lot of people don't know this, Joey, Janucci, one of my favorite characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. I just love the guy, and I think they used him well in all the arcs. In the Duelist Kingdom arc, they used him well. I thought they used him very well in the Battle City arc. Even in the Dome arc, he had that mini standoff with Mai. I'm not a fan of the final arc. I know I get some stick for that, but I don't really like the final arc of Duel Monsters. He wasn't really used well there. I don't think he dueled at all, but there weren't many duels in that final arc, so that's probably why I didn't really enjoy it. Even though I know a lot of people would beg to differ and say it is one of the best arcs in Yu-Gi-Oh! But he was used so well, and I feel like that best friend role has kind of faded away since then. I mean, think about it. In GX, Judai's best friends were Sho and Hayato, or Chumli and Cyrus. And Chumli left after one season, and if you want to say Chumli wasn't really his best friend, well, Sho definitely was, Cyrus definitely was, and Cyrus was so underused. In 5Ds, you would probably argue that Yusei's best friend was Crow. Jack I always saw as more of a rival, but Crow wasn't introduced till episode 34, so and Crow was used well, but again, he wasn't used at the Janucci level. And then in Zexal in Arc 5, you have Tetsu and Gangenzaka. Gangenzaka got off to a good start, but I don't know what the heck's happened to him. And Tetsu, besides that, I thought Zexal had really good characters, but inside that inner circle of Yuma's friends, I never really resonated with them that well. So Tetsu and Gangenzaka, not really characters that I enjoyed per se, compared to some of the other characters in Zexal and Arc 5. I would like to see the best friend duel well, be a good duelist, and be an important duelist, kind of like Janucci. I think that's something that the show has really lacked since Duel Monsters, and I would like to see them get back to that theme of the best friend being a duelist alongside the protagonist, and both of them kind of going on this simultaneous journey with different goals and different objectives. I think that would be a really cool storyline that they haven't really gone for since the original Duel Monsters. One last thing I'm going to address is romance. Here's the thing, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has never done romance correctly, in my opinion. I know they've tried to do it correctly. I don't think they've done it correctly. I know a lot of people would agree with me there. Romance and ships, it's just part of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's part of the community. While I don't really ship, I know a lot of people do, and it's a staple of the community. Whether you want to say it is or not, it is. And that's just for me, what I see on Twitter, what I see on Tumblr, what I see when I talk to different people. Romance isn't a bad thing. And yes, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not some, romantic drama show. It's a show about card games. But at the end of the day, if you can utilize romance as an element in any TV show or any movie, it enhances that TV show. So if we had a female protagonist, I would not want her to be infatuated with her main rival or her main... I wouldn't want her to have any romance at all. I wouldn't mind this, though, if like a lot of the guys, big male duelists, even her best friend kind of had feelings for her. And it was shown maybe in a subtle way, at least with the rival or the main best friend, and they used it humorously, like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the manga. The Yu-Gi-Oh! GX manga utilized romance brilliantly. They made it so funny, and in a show like this, you have to have some humorous elements. Even 5Ds had a few humorous elements there, but then it got serious towards the end, with Yusei and Aki presumably hooking up. And I wouldn't mind if they did that at the end of the show, where you can see the female character, the female lead, after all these episodes and all this time spent together, finally realizes that she maybe does have feelings for a male, but not until the very end of the show. Don't let it affect the show like it has with Arc 5 negatively, in my opinion, like it did with 5Ds negatively, because it always ends up harming the female character. So that's something that they have to be careful with, but I think if you follow the footprint that the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX manga used, I think you could write a really good, funny romance story and add that element to this Yu-Gi-Oh! 6 show that works. At the end of the day, it is about card games, it's an action show, but if any show or any movie, again, can utilize romance correctly, which I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh!'s been able to do at this point, then it just enhances the show. So hopefully that's something that they give a shot going forward, but hopefully they do it correctly. So anyway, guys, I've given so many of my thoughts on the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Show, what I want to see from it. Let me know down below what you guys want to see from it, and I really hope you enjoyed the mini-series, Road to Yu-Gi-Oh! 6. I hope you've checked out all the other parts. If you haven't, go to my channel, find the playlist. I would much appreciate it, but please comment anything that you want to see, anything that you agreed with what I said, anything that you disagreed with what I said, down below. Give me an archetype that you want to see appear. Give me a plot line that you maybe want to see appear. I didn't really get into specific plot lines, but I didn't want this to be like a 20-minute video. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always. I will see you next time. Have a great day.
I got to find my lost speed. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy.